You know what? My hair is not the nicest, but I do not care. So this whole construction thing kind of brings me to the whole point of this video, and it's about how I'm trying not to feel guilty about making big purchases, and in turn telling you guys how not to feel guilty when making big purchases. I gotta make coffee first. Is this the nicest background I've ever had? No. Literally having like the worst anxiety about trying to beat the noise of construction. I don't know what I'm gonna do. All right. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Diana if you're new here and didn't know that. In today's video, I'm gonna be talking about my tips for how to not feel guilty about making big purchases. Let's just get right into it. This has kind of been a good moment for me to talk about this because I am debating between buying a better quality camera for my videos that has better audio, and I've been saving up for it. Obviously, the noise outside, the pressure that I've been put on trying to get these videos filmed. This is probably the most terrible lighting I've ever had to film in, but that's okay. I have no other time to film this. Construction is gonna start in 15 minutes and I just gotta get this video out. Otherwise, I'm not gonna post for weeks. And like not necessarily liking my video setup because it's dark outside now. It's not as light as it was during the summer. So I'm kind of having to compromise certain things. Anyway, whatever it is, I know it can be tough to save up and buy and not do those impulsive purchases because I'm in that moment right now where I just want to say, screw it, I want to buy it. I don't want to have to wait till I save up the money to buy this expensive camera. Here is my plan to get to that point where I can buy that expensive camera, other big purchases, and I hope it helps you guys as well figure out how to save up efficiently to buy those big ticket items. So first things that can make it easier for you to save up for these big purchases is have a dedicated account, savings account. If it's something that you know is gonna be within a year, you might want to look into just a high interest savings account. I know in the States it's a little bit different. It's high yield savings account, but essentially it's something that you make a percentage off your money. You make a bit of money off of that savings monthly, so it's working for you instead of just sitting in a non-savings account collecting dust or having like cash on hand. So it's one way to make it to your goal a little bit quicker. This makes it easier to separate your money from other things, and it's another way to kind of just hide it away and not really look at it until you need it. So it stops you or doesn't tempt you as much to pull from it to use it for other things. Plus, seeing that balance grow in that account can be motivating. So the next step is setting up a sinking fund for it in your budget, whatever you use. I use You Need a Budget. I talk about it in every video. I'm not going to today. Not going into a deep dive of it. With saving up that a certain amount for whatever you want to buy, whatever your goal is. For example, if you're gonna have a goal of $1,000 in 6 months, you divide that 1,000 by 6 and that leaves $167 a month that you need to be putting away. When you say it like that, or when I say it like that, it really doesn't seem like that big of a number. You might have spent that money out on a fancy dinner or doing something that could have been delayed for that month, whatever. Making it into smaller steps is really going to help you not get overwhelmed and stick to the goal long-term wise. Another way of sticking to your goal and making sure that you don't stray off the path and say, F it, I'm just going to spend my money on impulsive purchases or put it on a credit card to buy it with money that you don't have, is to let yourself have a bit of wiggle room for enjoyment. You want to make sure that it's not doom and gloom and that you're hating the process, because then buying that product or whatever it is might not feel as enjoyable, or you might swing the pendulum the other way. So you went from being super strict to buying that purchase and then just being like, well, I suffered for like 6-7 months, whatever it is, so I'm just gonna say F it and spend all my money on whatever I want without planning. So this is a big one. Don't deprive yourself. I feel it's totally okay to treat yourself occasionally as long as you're planning on it. It might take away from getting to your goal a little bit, but it balances everything out. So when I was paying off my debt, which is kind of savings, it was, you know, me trying to get this number down, I was still able to go do stuff and do mini vacations. And yes, I could have paid off my debt a lot faster, but this kept me happier, and in return being okay with not having that money or seeing that money go away to paying off my debt. You don't want to turn saving into feeling like a punishment, is what I'm trying to say here. The same thing with exercise, eating healthy. You don't want to do it as a punishment to yourself. Just doesn't end well. Allowing yourself little treats to whatever you like can help you stick to your goal. Another tip is automate your savings / pay yourself first. So every time you get your paycheck, you want to make sure that the first thing that money is doing is paying yourself, whatever savings goal it is, and then figuring out the rest. Obviously, that's in a perfect world that would happen. Sometimes you need to allocate more money to other certain things or emergencies come up, but that's why you want to also have an emergency fund set up so that you don't have to dip into other money. I feel like if you're at that point where you don't have an emergency fund, whatever your big purchase or your goal is should kind of be delayed, take longer to achieve, because you really want to focus on that emergency fund. But yeah, you want to be paying yourself first before anything else. Obviously, you want to cover rent and all the non-variable expenses that you know aren't going to change and that you need to survive. All that extra wiggle room money that you have, you want to make sure that it's going towards your goals and not to random impulsive purchases. As I mentioned earlier, I use You Need a Budget. It's a good way to track your money. Do you need that app? No, you can pretty much use anything you like. Just find something that works well for you. So you want to track your progress and adjust as needed, of course. Life happens. Maybe you need to cut back by a month or two or extend that length of time that you need to get to that goal. And that's totally okay. Any amount forward, any amount closer to your goal, even if it's 1, 2, 3, 5 pennies, is a success. Oh my God, I can't talk, is a success in my eyes. The key really is to be flexible and not beat yourself up. And that's really it. All of my tips and everything that I've done myself has been relatively simple. I had to learn it the long way, the hard way. And am I perfect every time? No, I don't feel guilty. For the most part, there are days that I do. Still working on it. I hope these tips help you in getting towards your goal, helping you feel less guilty about making that purchase. Let me know down in the comments below what you're saving up for, because I'm always curious. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Bye.